Next on our list is the old axe handle on a pole match. Yeah. David Flair took on Kurt Henning, the former Mr. Perfect, on January 8th, 2003. I think this is actually going to wind up being Kurt's last match, but the match ends after only 3 minutes when a ringside attendant actually went up and got the axe handle for David. I guess this is actually, if memory serves, the first ever pole match in TNA history. Axe handle on a pole, Kurt's last match.
And going through the notes on this, sometimes I had to really jar my memory, and I could not on this. The story behind it, like why did we do an axe handle? Like what did we do the week before that Kurt and or David would agree or want or suggest, or the storyline? But for our YouTube friends, and put that picture back up there. Conrad, I don't know if that does it justice, but that pole right there, I can remember going, my God. I mean, Kurt's, when he stands on the top, and we did this a couple of times in the early days, that's a very, very tall pole. I'll just say that. Very tall. Because most of the time, if you got on where Kurt's at right now, you can probably touch the bottom of it, but he's another, 6 feet from the bottom of that axe handle. You can see it at the top. So, folks, go to My World YouTube page and you can see that nonsense I was just talking about. But no, those poles in the asylum, it's like when I think back to our Wild Wild West days, in the early days, and we'll get to it, the Ultimate X match, but this pole match and just growing pains as a look. And I'd been around, and a bunch of us been around, but oh, hey, we got to get a pole. And then you kind of have our production guy and comes back and you go, my God, that pole's 20 feet in the air. Anyway, I can remember us all chuckling like, okay, folks, we got a pole to climb here.
How does that come to be? Who was your who would source your polls? Who's your poll sourcer?
In these early days, gosh, it's I don't know. I don't know. Have you heard? Well, I'm kind of digressing here, but I don't know. The short answer is, but have you heard the old timers ribs back in the territory day when you would have a pole battle royal and you know, I'm looking at your face. You have no idea where I'm going with this, do you?
Nope.
So a pole battle royal, winner gets a title shot in the semi-main event. You know, just that would be the story, a spot show. And so if you wanted to load it up, and a lot of times this would happen, and let's just say hypothetically, everybody had to be at TV on Saturday morning. So the spot show from Nashville to Memphis, everybody's got to go that way. So everybody wants a payday. So, okay, we can't have 12 matches at this. So let's just put everybody in the opening battle royal, put in a little time, you know, and have a very entertaining, they get to see, let's just say 8-10 guys. And then you have match 2, match 3, match 4, match 5, and then Lawler match 6. Well, match 5 is going to be whoever that was against Dutch Mantell Hill. It's an easy way to give entertainment and all this, but you would let the young upstart babyface, you're going over tonight. You're going over tonight. He's going to have to work twice, but he loved it because he's going to get to work with an old timer. Little did he know on that pole, as they put it up, they got it nice and greasy and lathered up with baby oil and just super, super, where he can't climb the pole to get the contract or whatever that's hung up there so you could get that. And so you kind of leave it down to 2. Anyway, I have seen some funny scenarios when the young guy, and I'm one of the young ones at the time, you just kind of hit panic, like, how the hell I'm supposed to win this? And the heel goes, I can't get up there. Anyway, that's an old timer's rib. But speaking of pole matches, I thought I'd tell that story.
You eventually run a guitar and baseball on a baseball bat on a pole match between yourself and Joe Legend, or Joe E Legend. You get the victory over Joe. We've never really talked about Joe on the podcast. What do you remember of this feud? And I don't know, pole matches in general. Like, how does as a wrestler, the way you structure a match has to be drastically different, because it's less about false finishes, more about the tease and the cutoff for climbing the pole. in a weird way feels like a tag match where you're trying to constantly cut the guy off, except instead of making the tag, it's getting to the pole.
Yeah, it's all story. You like you just said, false finishes don't mean anything. They're irrelevant. So you start and have a little bit of an opening high spot, but at the end of that opening high spot, if you're the baby face and the heel bumps and maybe rolls outside and forgets he's in a pole match, you got to immediately go straight. You got to make the attempt that you're going to go get whatever on the on the pole. So again, it's story. You done correctly, you have to kind of build pole matches. And I've seen, I mean, there, a lot of people may laugh and say, "Oh, Jeff, come on." I've seen some very, very good pole matches because it's the story of who's going to eventually get that. And when they get said weapon, it's legal and you're going to get to see it. And it's the payoff and everything that goes with it. But Joe Legend, a hell of a worker, man. I mean, we haven't really talked about him on here, but he's I don't want to say he wasn't gigantic, but he a big man, very agile, very, very athletic. And I think this scenario was I was the baby face, obviously, and he beat me up with a baseball bat, or the crew did, or whatever it may be the week before, rib shots or something. And I think we made the step. You want to bring your bat? I'm bringing my guitar. We'll hang both of them. And so, and when you work the match, he's going after the bat and I'm going after the guitar, and you kind of work your story around that. But Joe, hell of a worker, man. I mean, he's one of those guys in the early days of the Asylum, and you just kind of look at like, holy damn, that guy, he could go. So Joe's one of those guys.
Do you remember who he was a part of a tag team when he first got going, Joe Legend? And they called what's that?
Who's his partner?
Well, I was saying that the tag team was called Sex and Violence. Do you remember who his tag team partner was?
Oh boy, I should.
Edge. Adam Copeland was wrestling as Sexton Hardcastle, so they were Sex and Violence.
Yep.
And then he, of course, was the Violence. I know you said you wouldn't believe it, but you've seen some great pole matches. I have too. Usually the pole matches I enjoyed seeing were between 1 and 3 a.m. But that's a story for another day. There is an interesting one, and this seems like it is almost like, can we get away with this?
It was after 3. Damn it.
How about a chair on a pole first blood match? Chair on a pole.
Okay.
That's Abyss and Kid Cash. What a match. Abyss versus Kid Cash. Big man, smaller man, chair on a pole.
They were okay. So this would take you back into inside baseball. And I always had a problem with that. Obviously, I proved this, so I'm not wheezing my way out of it. But I was always kind of have a problem with, and I'll throw Vince Russo right under Dutch wouldn't do this, but if a gimmick match is suggested,
yep,
you just said it's a chair on a pole, first blood. I felt like, did we really need to promote both of them?
Right.
Let's just say, hey, there's going to be a first blood match and chairs are legal. It's something along those lines, but don't try to double step it. I was not a fan. There I go using step. I didn't like double step it. Just say chair on a pole. And it's in your promo. You can say, I guarantee 2 things. 1, I'm getting the chair. 2, I'm making you bleed. That type deal. The double step, and that's been done, look, a lot. And we'll get into different matches, and it can be done. It has been done, but it's a little bit tough because are you watching a chair match or a pole match? I mean, a first blood match or a pole match. And I get it. It's story again, but I'm splitting hairs, but you know where I'm going with it. It can be a little confusing.
These pole matches go on and on. We even have handicap pole matches. Sandman's going to take on the Gathering, which is Julio De Niro and some guy named CM Punk, in a Singapore cane match. It's Singapore on a pole. So yeah, the cane is on the pole. Believe it or not, Sandman can't overcome Punk and De Niro. So next we get a nightstick on a pole match between Dallas, which is Lance Archer, and Kid Cash, taking on D'Lo Brown and Grand Apollo. It's not enough pole matches though. It's a guitar match on a pole. Ken Shamrock and the Elite taking on 3 Live Crew, Larry Zbyszko and Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes trying to climb the pole. You're in this match too, teaming with Ken Shamrock and the Elite, or the Elite Guard rather, not the regular Elite. Either way, Dusty gets a win over you when he steals the guitar from you, but the visual of Dusty trying to climb up to get the pole never gets old.
You know what? It just a little downbeat here. This is where that photo right there, Dusty climbing a pole, Zbyszko, Conan's there. I'm down selling. I think that's BG James, but Dusty's willingness and engaging and storytelling. Conrad, when you look at the fans, is there one person sitting down?
No. So seriously, when you hear it, you do chuckle.
Yes.
Look at that. And the crowd's into it, dude.
And that's what I'm saying is when you kind of, that to me is the essence of the stipulation / gimmick matches. If you have, and heels can do it too, but it's so much better when you have the absolute right babyface to make the promo, tell the story, kind of make a visual picture in the promo where you go, damn it, I got to see that. Lawler was fantastic at it. I mean, just we could go on and on, but that picture right there to me kind of talks about this episode. We have stipulation matches, and you can say gimmick matches, LOL, and blah, 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 blah. Done right, they draw money.
Sting, Christian, and Abyss are going to get in on the fun. It's the first pole match of the Impact Zone on Impact, 2 weeks before their actual main event at Final Resolution. They have a nightstick on a pole match. And then there's a combination of things coming next we got to discuss. A key on a pole, Motor City Chain nightstick match. Key on a pole, Motor City Chain nightstick match. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah.
It's Rhino and AJ Styles. They're chained together. The poles have a key and a nightstick on it. The goal is to get the key to unlock yourself from the chain and then defeat your opponent. How late at night was it when y'all came up with that idea?
I was going to say, I reread that and I said, okay, so we wanted the nightstick to be legal, but the key, okay, so that, yeah, that went down a rabbit hole in creative on a late Thursday when TNA and Russo had to go catch their flights. What year was that? Does it say? Probably not. That's all right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The next one is perfect this time of year. A double North Pole for a Christmas Impact between Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns taking on Team 3D and Johnny Devine. The team who would win determined the stipulation for the upcoming match at Final Resolution. Shelley gets the win, makes it an Ultimate X match. So we have a stipulation match to choose a stipulation match.
Of course we did. And a holiday, it's kind of like the turkey suit. So this was the Christmas episode to get us to Ultimate X. And why not make another gimmick match? What did they, in the Christmas match, they just had to climb the pole and get Santa Claus, or what did it say?
Buddy,
I'm sorry, Conrad.
Fourth pole match, that was news to me. We'll get to the Ultimate X match you mentioned in a minute. But first, something that I feel like happened a lot back in the territory days. A rat on a pole match. Kaz is in the ring with Dustin Rhodes, then known as Black Rain, with Black Rain's rat on a pole match. If you're watching with us over on YouTube, you see there is an actual rodent in a cage on top of a pole. But listen, I always thought that the territory group way back when in the Alabama territory, Rat Patrol, was just an inside baseball rib. It was a fun I love it. But a rat on a pole match, this is Dutch seeing what he can get away with on TV, is it not?
So you almost described that right. So it's a pole, which is, attached to the ring post.
Yes.
On top of that pole was almost like a mailbox contraption.
Yes.
You opened up the mailbox, out comes a rat in a cage. Yes, folks, Go to My World YouTube if you don't believe us, because when you see that image, you just kind of go, okay, all right, that's maybe jumping the shark a little bit. But look, Dustin's gimmick, Black Rain, and his ability to kind of get off in this dark character, and his friend was this rat, and in Orlando, yes, we had a rat handler. Is that the best way to say it, Conrad? Do you know any rat handlers?
I don't. I know that back in the day, Bruce has told me that Cornette had a pet rat.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that pet rat passed away of mesothelioma.
Who was the Rat Patrol? Was that a
Well,
tag team?
yeah, it was. I thought it was a 6-man. It was. No, Steve Armstrong was in
Armstrong?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you ever? Were you ever interested in being a part of the Rat Patrol?
No. Nope. Nope. Dustin's rat. What was Black Rain's rat name?
It was Johnny Rich, Steve, and Scott Armstrong. That was the RAT Patrol.
Johnny Rich.
Yes, that's who we were looking for. Neither you nor I could come up with that one.
No.
So do you remember the rat handler?
He was from Orlando, and he had all kinds of exotic animals.
He have any dogs with socks?
I want to say they were like baby bulls.
Got you. So this match has 4 boxes on poles, one of which has the rat, the other has mouse traps. Kaz wins the match because he gets the rat. Black Rain steals it from him afterwards, so it kind of rendered the match useless. But the boys fighting over rats, I guess, is not really new. I mean,
Would you stop?
what? Now the classic TNA match. We're going to throw a bunch of people in a ring, in this case, knockouts, and have something on the pole and have them fight for it. This is quite interesting. It's Barber Shears on a pole match with Tracy Brooks, Jacqueline, Gail Kim, Christy Hemme, ODB, Angelina Love, Velvet Sky, Salinas, and Roxy. And the point of this match is whoever retrieves the shears wins immunity. Immunity, you may ask for, but it was for a match at Sacrifice, where there will be a battle royal, and the last 2 left have a ladder match to determine who wouldn't get their head shaved. A friend of mine once said, Connie, if you confuse them, you lose them.
Yeah.
This sounds a little confusing.
Well, if we reverse engineer this, and I'm not sure how far back out we went, Roxy agreed and wanted, and she said, yeah, I want to have a hair match and lose my hair. So this was 2 weeks out. How are we going to kind of promote that the hair match is coming up? And
right.
So yes, it's easier to explain in 2 or 3 minutes on a podcast, try telling it to your wrestling audience. But at the end of the day, I can just hear Mike Tenay and Don West. The whole thing's about the shears. One of these ladies in 8 days, or no, what would that have been? 10 days, excuse me, is losing their hair. When you see the visual on the TV and the battle royals going on, the visual is one of these 8 or 10 ladies, however many were in there, they are losing their hair in 10 days at Sacrifice pay-per-view. Plug in the pay-per-view and plug in the hair match.
We got James Storm and Abyss. They're going to have a beer bottle on a pole match. Scott Steiner and Petey Williams would have a headdress on a pole. Kurt Angle and Mick Foley would have official keys on a pole match. These are the keys to Mick's office.
Mm-hmm.
There's other pole matches like contract on a pole, briefcase on a pole. I think the total, we had 13 different variations of pole matches.
Is that it?
Feels like more than that, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. The Kurt Mick deal was, I believe that's when Kurt was running the Main Event Mafia, and Mick, I think he's like, yeah, well, you take anyway. Again, trying to tell stories in the ring, and that is something that is the incredibly difficult job of to tell stories and have the balance. Not too much talking, but enough, not Not too much talking, but enough talking to get you to the story, and the talent tells the rest of the story in the ring. Easier said than done, I can assure you that.